Hello, friends. Hope you are doing well and safe at your homes. Today we have Rajudev with us. He is a GNU Linux enthusiast, contributor to many projects like Debian, OnCloud, Hamara, GNU Linux, etc. etc. Today he's gonna give a talk on two-factor authentication using hardware keys, and you can find more about him in the description below.
Okay, great. Two-factor authentication usually from the start, since a lot of password breaches were happening around the world, a lot of user data was being leaked around the world, um, and in some cases of some really big companies, hundreds and thousands of passwords were leaked and sometimes even leaked in plain text. A lot of companies were found to be storing their users' passwords in plain text on the servers. So a lot of these things keep happening. To solve these issues, a lot of new ways were added. So one of the ways was adding a second factor of authentication. So initially, people started adding OTPs. So along with your password, the service or the website sends you an OTP on your phone. You have to enter that OTP to get that page. So it's only your smart and cloud. Then there was also attempts in wherein the user's phone could not be in the original user's possession and could be hacked, or or their messages could be spied. So a lot of these things were happening. So uh, I'm just gonna share my screen. So I'm speaking on my phone. So for this demo, I plan to also showcase the my keyboard. So I will be doing that through my phone's camera. And how it works on the website would be from my laptop's screen share. So the voice you are hearing would be from a different account, and the screen share would be different. So if you can see my screen now, so
Yeah.
originally U2F second factor. This is higher. This is like a physical to your lock. Yeah, let's say you have a key for your door lock. Uh, but in case of a door lock, keys could be duplicate. But the hardware keys are not that. Doesn't work that way. I'm not a good expert at what algorithms go behind or what exact technology goes behind. So, uh, what I know that the different levels of authentication herein, these Ubico is the company who made these made hardware keys famous, but there are plenty of other options and some even very cheap options. YubiKey in India is very costly, but there are some cheaper options as well. Again, so I'll go level by level. If you are on a website, let's say, so I'll just show my screen with, let's say, my YubiKey setup. So I'll take an example of GitHub. First, I'll just show you a login, uh, and then I'll show you how it has been set up. So if you can see my screen, uh, I'm using GitHub to log in. It is asking me for a password. I will just enter the password from my password manager. You can do that anyways. Now I'll start my camera. So maybe not a very good. I need to increase the light in my room. Yeah, better. So yeah, if you can see my phone's camera. Oh, it's on selfie. I need to use the other. Yeah. So this is my YubiKey, the first one. Then I also have another one which is from a company which is called NitroKey. This is a bit damaged. Then this is also there. This is called HyperSecure. This is the cheapest one. This comes around like 600 rupees on Amazon. You might not be able to get in these days, but usually it's very cheap. Um, this is runs around like 3,000 plus rupees in India. So there's like 2 to 6 times difference in both of them. Now let's see what happens on this that I entered my username and password. So once I do that and click sign in, it now asks me how do I want to do the second factor of authentication. So for two-factor authentication, there are multiple ways. One is to use a security key, which is I'm going to do first. There is also another thing called two-factor code from your phone. So I'll show how that works as well. So if I say use my security key, it will do a prompt like this, and it will ask me to enter a hardware key. Of course, I don't have a hardware key plugged in onto my laptop. So what I'll do is I'll use the cheaper one here, and I'll get it on my laptop USB port. Okay, the key is there. Now you can see there's a light behind it and it is blinking. So it only blinks when there's a prompt around here. See, the blinking has stopped because it waited for a certain time for my security key, which I didn't provide it in a proper time or the desired time frame. Now I'm going to retry. The prompt came again. The light is blinking again. Now this is actually a button. I'll need to push this button physically. Once I pushed it, the page authenticated and I'm logged in. Similarly, on this key, this one, this YubiKey, as I pushed a button here, on this YubiKey, I need to do a touch. So I need to keep my finger physically here. Only then I would be logged in. In different applications, so if you go to the website of maybe YubiKey or NitroKey, they have a list of services which work with two-factor authentication. So I'll just show you some. And it has a product setup. So they have different products. I have a NitroKey and mine is a NitroKey U2F, which is this one. Okay, it is not having the website I was looking for. Yeah, yeah. So maybe it's here. So okay, maybe I would look for the website later, or if someone knows websites working with U2F, so we could search for that. Working with yeah. So there's a dedicated website for all these services, and you could go through them category wise. Let's say for social, uh, Twitter supports two-factor authentication now, or and most of the big websites do. A lot of them don't. So even for code, there is let's say cloud computing. This is a very extensive list. Not many banking websites support U2F, so that's a bummer. They should. So the advantage is I'll show you the setup now on let's say GitHub on how it is set up for me. So on GitHub you go to your settings, then you go to um, I'll switch my phone camera off, and we could see the desktop screen share. So there is SSH and GPG keys, security. Yeah. So in security, there are multiple options. You can see that I have not configured my SMS number because I didn't want to provide my phone number. If I have to use a security key, I first have to configure a second factor authentication using a TOTP method, as it is known as. So you might be knowing, or you need to look up applications such as Google Authenticator. I don't use this one, but this is probably the most famous one. This is the one I use, free OTP, which is on F-Droid. F-Droid.org. So just to keep this talk very short, I'm going to, looks like my internet is very slow at the moment. Or F-Droid's website is taking a while. Oh, I don't want to do that. So I just close the page for Google Authenticator. So there are many OTP apps. What they do is, when I log in, I'll show that if I don't have my, when I log in, I enter my password. If I don't have the security key, I can use the Authenticator app. And the Authenticator app, inside my Authenticator app, I'll just, I can't show my, share my phone screen at the moment, but it looks like somewhat like this. Okay, my internet is taking a while. I don't want to make this long. So yeah, so you can see that I have an Authenticator app configured. Once you configure your Authenticator app, then you can configure multiple hardware keys. So you can see there is one security key. As a demo now, what I'll do is I'll configure another security key. So I'll start with this now. This is the final demo, and then only we'll end. So my overall internet. Okay. So you can see that this is my security key, which is already configured. So I'm going to configure this YubiKey now with my GitHub account. No, I don't want to do that. So on GitHub, I can only set one particular hardware authentication device. I don't want to do that. So maybe we could try on GitLab, which allows multiple devices to be used. Oh, my internet has taken a beating. Okay, guys, I'm very sorry. My internet is just not loading websites, so it's very, very slow right now. So I did give an initial demo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we could do this another time. I could show a demo of actually configuring a key.
Sure.
So maybe that for later. So this short one is fine.
Yeah. So maybe I'll talk about a bit about my 2FA setup as well. So basically, there's one project by Google. It's called OpenSK, where they have made it possible for you to make your own 2FA keys. It runs on Nordic NRF 52840, which is a very amazing system on chip. So this is the dongle which I am using for my 2FA, and this is the entire project. It's open source. It supports Fido. It supports almost all the uh, two-factor authentication protocols, and this is complete open source project, so you can make tweaks accordingly and select your encryption methods and read about it. So it's called OpenSK, and that's the dongle which I carry with me for my 2FA. So some people have some questions that what happens when I need to log into my phone using my phone. So for example, if you are on Android, then that's not an issue because you can directly plug in your USB key and you can do that using an OTG port. If you are on iPhone, things get little messier there. But again, iPhone has Apple has open support for NFC based chips. So, for example, the Neo by YubiKey that has NFC, which you can tap on the back of your phone and get your key authentication. And also, this NRF52840 chipset, which is this one I'm talking about, it has Bluetooth. So in future, there is a possibility, there is a chance you will see a lot of products designed around this, which supports Bluetooth. So you connect these keys using Bluetooth to your phone, and then you will be able to authenticate it. The basic idea is your private key lives on this, and you can do that for two-factor authentication. And there is also one amazing 3D printed enclosure being developed by the community, which allows you to carry it safely. Uh, so that's the one on Thingiverse. It's open source. You can use it. Yeah, that one. So basically, the idea is you need to press a button, right, which Raju showcased. So this 3D printed one has a small button type of mechanical setup built in, and the board has button on board. So using this thing, you can press this button, and this entire thing will keep it safe. So yes, if you want to make your own keys, this is the dongle you need to buy. It's called NRI52840. It comes for around 1100 to 1500 rupees, depending on where you live. And this is the project OpenSK, which you need to flash on that. Yeah, so I hope.
I would like to add to this.
Yeah.
Just a short addition. As Ian mentioned that on phones you can attach your keys as well using the OTG port, as well as if your phone supports NFC, there are some hardware keys which has NFC. But even if you don't have NFC on your phone and you don't want to be attaching your keys by OTG all the time, what you need to know is whenever setting up second factor authentication on your services, remember this order. So first is your password. Second is your 2FA using your OTP application on your phone. So on my phone, if I don't have my keys around, I don't look for the hardware key. I use the authentication app, which provides me a 6-digit OTP code, which I enter on the website I'm logging in, and that logs me in. And next is the actual hardware key. So if you don't have the hardware key, you can use the OTP password. So let's say even if I am somewhere where I don't have my hardware keys around me, even on my laptop, I can still use the OTP. So if you use these three things always and do not set up hardware keys without the OTP not being set up already there, if you have these things set up, you can log in from any device. You don't need to use OTGs and stuff. But if that's available, that's also good.
Awesome. And I believe there are also some recovery codes which you can save in case you lost everything.
Yeah. So when you are setting this up, let's say if you set if you're on GitHub, if you want to set up a hardware key, first they want you to set up a OTP password using an authenticator app. Once you do that, for the authenticator app, there's Google Authenticator as well as a lot of open source authenticator apps as well. I use one app called Free OTP. Once you do that, then it asks you to set up the security key. Once you do the security key, it gives you a recovery code, which is in case if you lose everything else. So you need to keep this recovery code safe somewhere. It's a long string of numbers and alphabets. You need to keep this secure somewhere else. Maybe you can keep it in some cloud folder or on a physical hard disk, or maybe print it and store it in a locker. If you lose access to your hardware key, if you lose access to your 2FA, let's say if you lose your keys, if you lose your phone, and your password is of no use because it would require you of any of those two, then you can get that paper out or get that password out from somewhere. If it's on a cloud, you can get that and you can recover your account. So there are always fail safes. So it's not like if you lose the security key, you won't be able to get back login. But it's much better to use this instead of just the password.
Right. And if you are one of the most unluckiest person on earth who lost your keys, who lost your mobile phone, OTP, SIM card, and even the recovery code, then also these companies will support you. You need to prove your identity, and this might take a couple of weeks, but there are provisions provided by Google and other organizations that will help you get back your account if you can give enough support of evidence that that's belong to you. So yes, that is two-factor authentication for you, and everyone should be using that these days. Google has made it mandatory for all the employees to use it, especially to protect against phishing attacks. And yes, if you have any questions, you can ask later in the Telegram group.